The One Ring is easy to misunderstand because it looks like the simplest magical object in Middle-earth.
It is a gold circle, it turns people invisible, and everyone important seems to want it.
But the ring is not a wand, a battery, or a convenient invisibility button.
It is closer to a hidden engine of domination, built from Sauron's own power and tuned to the secret wishes of whoever carries it.
So the real question is not just what the ring does.
The better question is why it always seems to know exactly where to press.
The simple answer is that the One Ring works because Sauron poured a great part of himself into it.
That does not mean his whole soul is trapped inside the band like a tiny villain in a jewelry box.
It means the ring contains enough of his native power, craft, and will that it remains bound to him even when it leaves his hand. It is both a tool he made and a piece of the power by which he made himself terrible.
That is why losing it weakens him, but does not immediately kill him.
Sauron can survive without the ring, but he cannot be complete without it.
The ring was made to rule the other rings because Sauron helped shape the craft behind them.
The elven rings were not made by his hand, but they belonged to a tradition of ring-making he had secretly influenced.
When he forged the One, he was trying to create a master key for a whole system of power.
That is why the ring is not merely stronger than the others.
It is designed to reach through them, read them, command them, and bend their bearers toward the will that made the master ring.
In modern terms, the One Ring is less like a bigger weapon and more like the administrator account for a corrupted network.
That is also why the elves knew they had been betrayed when Sauron first put it on.
They felt the trap closed, removed their rings, and refused to become his beautiful puppets.
For a normal mortal bearer, the first obvious effect is invisibility.
But that invisibility is not the ring's true purpose. The ring pulls the wearer partly into the unseen world, the spiritual side of reality, where wraiths and powers are more exposed.
That is why a small person can vanish from ordinary eyes and still become more visible to darker things. It is also why the ring wraiths are so bound to it.
They are not simply invisible men. They are people who were stretched so far towards the unseen that almost nothing human remained.
Mortals who keep the ring are preserved, but preservation is not the same as life.
Bilbo is not made young by the ring. He is made thin, delayed, and stretched, like butter scraped across too much bread.
The ring does not bless the body.
It refuses to let the body finish its story.
The ring tempts people by offering them power in the shape they already understand.
Boromir imagines it as a weapon that could save Gondor. Galadriel imagines what it would mean to become a queen so radiant and absolute that no one could resist her. Sam briefly imagines a transformed world of gardens, order, and healing.
Even that gentle dream is dangerous, because the ring would turn gardening into empire if the gardener claimed the right to force the world to bloom. This is the key to understanding the ring.
It does not usually tempt people by saying, "Please become evil for no reason." It says, "Take control for the right reason."
It whispers that your fear is wisdom, your anger is justice, and your desire to fix everything is proof that you should be obeyed. That is why the wise fear it so much. The ring is most dangerous in the hands of someone with enough strength to do something grand with it. The ring often behaves as if it has a mind of its own. It slips away from Isildur. It abandons Gollum. It becomes heavy when Frodo approaches the place where it was made. But it is better to think of the ring as having a will rather than a personality. It is not sitting there making little plans with a tiny calendar. Its nature is pointed toward one outcome: return to Sauron and restore the power that belongs with him. That nature makes it treacherous, responsive, and strangely patient. It can work through chance, weakness, pride, and hunger, because it only needs one hand to close around it at the wrong time. The ring does not need to invent corruption. It only needs to amplify what is already available. Someone powerful could use the ring, but that is not the same as mastering it safely. A great bearer might overthrow Sauron for a time, but the victory would be poisoned because the tool itself teaches domination.
The new ruler would not simply borrow Sauron's power and stay untouched.
They would learn to command, compel, and arrange the world through the same logic that made the ring. This is why Gandalf refuses it with such terror. He knows he would begin with pity, mercy, and the desire to do good. Then the ring would make his goodness compulsory.
A world forced to be kind by an all-powerful wizard is still a world under a tyrant.
The ring turns virtue into a throne. Frodo can carry the ring because he is not trying to become a great lord.
That does not make him immune.
It makes him small enough to resist the ring for longer than the mighty would expect.
Hobbits are not incorruptible. Gollum proves that immediately.
But their ordinary loves give the ring less heroic material to twist at first. Comfort, food, home, friendship, and a stubborn dislike of grand speeches are not perfect defenses, but they are surprisingly useful ones. Frodo's strength is not that he defeats the ring by being pure. His strength is that he bears it far beyond what anyone had the right to demand from him.
At the end, he cannot throw it away.
That failure is not a plot hole. It is the point.
No one finally masters the ring by superior willpower.
The quest succeeds because mercy, pity, and providence leave Gollum alive long enough for the ring's own hunger to destroy it.
When the ring is destroyed, Sauron is not merely disarmed. The power he invested in it is unmade with it.
His armies still exist for a moment. His towers still stand for a moment. And his hatred still reaches outward for a moment.
But the foundation has vanished. The part of himself he placed outside himself has been cut away forever.
That is why his fall is so sudden and so total.
He has spent ages building a world around a single object of control.
When that object is gone, the entire design collapses.
The ring was his shortcut to mastery, and shortcuts have a habit of becoming cliffs.
So the One Ring works because it is Sauron's power made portable, persuasive, and terribly intimate.
It rules by reaching through other rings, pulling mortals toward the unseen, preserving what should pass away, and turning good intentions into the desire to command. Its greatest trick is that it rarely offers people something alien.
It offers them themselves, enlarged until they become monstrous.
That is why the smallest hands in the story matter so much. The ring is a machine for domination, and the answer to it is not a stronger machine. The answer is pity, refusal, friendship, and the terrible courage to carry power without claiming it. One common mistake is to treat the ring as if it has a simple list of powers.
Invisibility is only the easiest effect to notice.
The deeper power is command, and command looks different depending on who is holding it.
Another mistake is to imagine that the ring makes people evil from the outside. It is more frightening than that because it cooperates with what they already want.
It takes a noble aim and quietly changes the verb from help to control. That is why destroying the ring matters more than hiding it. If it exists, someone will eventually decide that this time the danger is worth it.
Someone will say the emergency is special, the enemy is too strong, or the wise can handle the burden.
Middle-earth survives because the answer is finally no. No, because power is useless. No, because some kinds of power cannot be cleaned by good intentions.
The ring is not defeated by finding a better owner.
It is defeated by refusing the whole argument that the world needs a master. Thank you for keeping the Black Quill Society company in the archives tonight. If this little expedition into dangerous jewelry earned its candlelight, subscribe, pull up a chair, and I will see you in the next one.